Welcome to the Wise and Happy Life podcast, where ancient wisdom meets modern science, and mindfulness, philosophy, and happiness practices blend with neuroscience, compassion, and common sense. Hosted by Bob Martin, meditation mentor, happiness coach, trial lawyer, and entrepreneur. This podcast explores how to live with grace, presence, and purpose in a complex world.
Hey, hello, good people, and welcome to another episode of A Wise and Happy Life podcast. And as you know, I always start off setting the theme for our guest today, and I just want to mention some of the experiences that I have in teaching meditation, because one of the things that, people come to learn meditation about is because they feel stressed out or they feel overwhelmed and the like. And as we go through and begin to look at our thoughts and we kind of look at what it means to be a human being, we find that we're really nuts. we really are kind of crazy. And the turning point, I think, for my students is when they begin to be able to kind of laugh at themselves and not take ourselves so seriously. And I have the most wonderful human being that I've run into. This is Cathy Nesbitt. And the only thing I could say that really lets you know who she is: laughter yoga, worms, and sprouts. Am I right? And when I talked to her before, we just laughed and laughed and laughed. So Cathy, let's hear it from you.
Oh, Bob, I'm so excited. Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. Yes, to the topic. Really, it's all about just joy and when we can laugh at ourselves, how wonderful. It's a gift.
Mm-hmm. So you've had quite a journey. If I remember right, you are an entrepreneur and started out into business, and you thought that worms were going to be the answer, right?
Yes.
And then you discovered that people weren't so excited about worms.
That's it. Yeah, 23 years. It took a long time to get the message.
So tell us how you got to that and why you started with worms and how that developed, and then how you moved into sprouts and laughter yoga, and tell us the story.
Okay, so I'm located in Canada, just north of Toronto, largest city in Canada. And 2002, our landfill closed. And Canada's second largest country in the world. But we couldn't find a place to site a new landfill, and we started to export our garbage to the US. Oops, sorry. I know. Whoops. How Canadian. And funny, not funny. I laugh because otherwise I'd be bawling in the corner.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So I had a solution. So back to Toronto, 6 million people in the greater Toronto area. Half live in condos, townhouses, places without space to do outdoor composting. And this is indoor composting. So what I'm proposing is worms in the house. I don't know what the problem was. I do now.
So how did you come up with that idea of worms in the house? I mean, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we can go back further. So I grew up in Toronto. I bought a house in 93 out of the city, because even then it was a challenge to afford in large cities. So I moved out of the city, but I still needed to travel to the city for work. And I would take a bucket on the GO train, on the commuter train, to collect my coworkers' lunchroom scraps. And you might be interested to know I was a legal secretary.
Okay.
So I did work in the legal industry. And my coworkers thought I was nuts. This was 93, before the landfill closed, before garbage was kind of on our mind, even though it ought to be on our mind because we're creating it every day.
Right.
Right. So I would collect my coworkers' banana peels, coffee grounds, and really they were like, okay, whatever. But people want to do the right thing, Bob. That's what I learned over my time as an entrepreneur. Is people really do want to do the right thing. We don't always know what to do. So they were happy to give me their scraps, and the cleaners were very happy too, because I was taking the stink out of the garbage. When you take the organics out, no more smell. And I thought I was upsetting the pH balance of Bradford. I would take these scraps home, put them in my composter at home. And the year I bought my house, a teacher friend asked me to look after her worm bin for the summer.
Her worm what?
Her worm bin.
Bad.
She had
okay.
worm bin. Worm the
bin.
Yes,
Worm bin.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So she had a worms in the classroom as a project for the kids to teach them about what I sell now. And I was like, ugh, ew, I don't want worms in my house. But I come from a place where we should learn for ourselves. People are always willing to tell you, you won't like that. Oh, well, give me a list then. Save my
Hmm.
time. But I took on the challenge because I think that we should try things. Maybe you won't like it, but I'll like it. I don't know. So I didn't like it. It was horrible. That summer, I would just open up the bin. So the worms are not free range, they're in a container.
Hmm.
Open up the lid, throw the food in, close the lid. So I was a fruit fly farmer. And if anybody's ever had fruit flies, they're horrible. Like, it's a nuisance. They bug us, right? They get in
Hmm.
your wine, and well, it's just a problem. But
Hmm.
they don't cause problems. They don't carry any disease for humans or pets. They really are just a nuisance. And I think that happened so that I could go, okay, at the end of the summer, I separated the worms. I kept the worms alive for my friend. I put on big gloves, and I said, I'm never doing this again. I'll just go to the worm farm and buy worm poo if I want the soil for my garden from all the multiple worm farms that are in every city.
Hmm.
They're not, I know.
They're not.
They're not. And so I would say, just a little caveat here, buyer beware. If you're buying worm poo at Home Depot or at a garden center, like, what are you buying? Where are the worm farms? That would be my question.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so fast forward, I was getting my psych degree. I got a job at a group home um, after I graduated in 2000, and they had 10 homes and a farm, and they didn't compost. And I was like, oh, as an avid gardener and composter, I saw organic matter everywhere. Like, it's a resource for me. It's not garbage, it's a resource. And it matters what we say, what we call things.
Hmm.
That's
It
what I want to
does.
say too.
It really does. I mean, saying, yeah, shifting the perception from organic waste being garbage to it being a resource is, yeah, it changes your whole perception.
Right? Exactly.
Hmm.
And so there I was at the group home, and they didn't, so I spoke to management and I said, why don't you compost? And they said that we don't need the fertilizer because we have cows. So they had the manure for the, okay. Still, I'm thinking, as a waste management tool, like, you're creating all of this food waste and you're paying all this money to ship it away when you could just manage it on site. So I was proposing a composting program, and the greenhouse manager said, what about worm composting? No, not again. Have you ever done something, Bob, where you're like, this is going to be so exciting, and then you try it and it's not that exciting? It doesn't work out
Hmm.
like you would envision. That's what happened with the worms. So when they mentioned it 7 years later, I was like, oh no, they're the worms again. But it was
But
an
wait, let
instant.
me ask you something. Let me ask you
Yes.
something.
Okay.
Well, when you had this one experience with taking care of somebody else's worms and you went and said, oh, never again. And then a few years later, somebody else is talking to you about worms. Was there a little tingling of antenna saying, is the universe trying to tell me something here?
Right? Not at that moment. I just had that feeling like, oh no. And I kind of wasn't present. But then when I came home, I was like, wait a minute. Yes. Maybe not the universal tingle yet, but yes, I do believe that it was the universe nudging me. And so I did, I did some research, and I discovered the magic of these worms.
Uh-huh.
They eat half their weight per day in food scraps. They turn garbage into gold. They're the original alchemists. They
Uh-huh.
turn
Uh-huh.
something that is, that we go, ew, gross, into something like, wow, we can grow more delicious, nutritious food with their poop. What? And so I had a shift. I was like, wow, instead of thinking, ew, gross, I was like, wow, everybody needs these. And while I was researching, I learned that a pound of worms and their descendants could transform a ton of organic waste in a year, and that the average family produces a ton of organic matter in a year. So I was like, oh my gosh, every
Wait,
family
wait,
needs a.
wait. I'm beginning to see a 2 plus 2 here.
Okay.
A pound of worms can process a ton of garbage, and a family of 4 produces a ton of garbage. So if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, that means that 1 pound of worms can take care of one family's organic waste for a year. Am I
It-
right?
That, yeah, sort of, because there are a lot of factors, but yes,
Factors, yeah. Hmm.
that's what I did. I was like, "Oh, everyone needs worms, and I'm just the one to put a pound of worms in every house." And it was really right. So that was that. And then I set up the institution with a worm composting program, and it was really wonderful. And then I got injured at work.
Mm,
Uh-oh. And I was a freelance behavior management specialist. Like, it sounds so impressive. It doesn't fit on
hmm.
a business card.
Right.
And freelance means no safety net,
Hmm.
right? You get a paid a whack a dough, but you don't have any benefits. And if you get injured, if you don't go to work, you don't get paid.
Right, right.
Right. So I came home from work
We
that
call
day,
that gig. We call that gig economy
the
today.
gig
I think is
economy,
the gig
right?
economy. Right.
Yeah, it sounds so fun. Yeah,
Right.
it's
Right.
not. Yeah, buyer beware when you go into the gig economy, you don't know. So I came home from work that day, stressed, like, oh, I don't know what to do. And there was an ad in the paper. It said, "Are you a woman? Yes. Do you have a business idea? Yes." It was a 6-month course to write a business plan. I turned to my husband. I said, "I'm quitting my job. I'm taking this course. I'm going to start a worm farm. How fun. Won't this be great?" And that's what happened. So it was a 6-month course, 2002. And it was a big year. 2002, our landfill closed, and we had a garbage strike. A garbage strike in the summer, because why have it in the winter when everything's frozen? There's
Right.
less power.
Right.
And I was watching the news, and people were lining up for hours to drop off their garbage. And I said, those people don't compost. Because if you compost, it takes the stink out of garbage. You definitely wouldn't line up for 3 hours to drop off your garbage. We're busy people. Like, we would have
Right. Right.
something else to do, right? But getting rid of that smell is important if you have rotting garbage laying around.
Wait. So let me move you just a little place here. So you created a worm farm. Now there may be people right now that are already listening to this and saying, "Gee, I mean, that I might like to get some worms." So tell me how buying worms. Tell me how that works. Like, somebody would get in touch with you and they want to say, "I want to buy a pound of worms," and you would send them the worms. Just tell me how
Yes.
that works.
Yes, that's exactly it. I mean, I'm no longer selling worms since 2020. Things happened, and now I'm focused on laughter. But yes, people would send me an email, phone me, however, get in, smoke signals somehow, send me a message that they'd like worms, that they want to get started. So for the do-it-yourselfers, any container will do. A Rubbermaid or some kind of plastic tote is perfect. Your carbon, it's a carbon nitrogen mix. The carbon is your bedding. That's shredded paper, leaves, straw, cardboard, your browns in composting terms. And the nitrogen are your greens, so your food scraps from the kitchen. And it's your fruit and veg rather than meat and
Hmm.
the fat and gravy and stuff. Um,
Although I just want to share with you, there's a local farm down here that has a composting pile that's 3 stories high.
wow,
And she tells me that if one of her cattle dies, she
in it
can put
goes.
it in, it goes, and it's gone in 3 days.
Yes,
The heat is so intense.
it
So,
is. And the microbes,
yeah.
absolutely.
But for in the home, we stay away from bones and meats and proteins and things like that because they slow the process down a bit.
Correct. And even in an outdoor composter, I would say, even without worms, you want to leave the meat out, because then that's what will attract the rodents and
Hmm.
the raccoons and the skunks, because they're attracted to the meat.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right.
Okay,
So
so wait, so I just want to say that you're not doing that now. If somebody wants to get some worms, where would they go?
I would say I was never able to ship out of the country. So I was
Uh-huh.
always only serving Canada with worms. There are lots of worm growers in the warmer states, Florida, Texas, California, Georgia. The warmer states, there are beautiful worm farms doing
Is there
great work.
material? Do you have materials on your website or anything else if somebody wants to get into it that are instructional?
Absolutely, yes. It's 23 years I've been building my website, and I chose media as my marketing strategy. So I've got articles, videos, how
So I can learn
to,
all I want to know about worms on your website.
everything you need to know. I did a video right at the very beginning called Vermicomposting 101.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I look 20 years younger because I was. But the knowledge is really good. That video, I think it's a really good step-by-step video, what you need to do. And it's a beautiful way to introduce children to the environment, to sustainability. It's
That sounds
something,
wonderful.
it's a wonderful thing for us, for everybody, but people may be a little bit squeamish about the worms, having them in the house. Adults, I mean, children love it. And they can have parents can have the children look after the worms. They don't have to manage the worms. And there are
Hmm.
systems that you don't even ever have to touch the worms.
Hmm.
So it's not, the worms are not the issue. It's that we're looking for convenience today. And I recently heard it's the pursuit of convenience that's killing us.
Right. I agree. I
We
agree.
have everything the same temperature. We have heated seats in our car. We have,
Hmm.
we're always
But
the same temperature. So we're not causing any stress on our body, which helps us. Like when it's cold, then our body secretes different chemicals. When it's hot, anyway,
yeah.
that's a different talk. Um,
So let me, and I just want to say, you're right. I had somebody else on a podcast recently, and we were talking about the ease and convenience of getting information, and the effect that has on lowering our, I guess, our tolerance for discomfort and our persistence in chasing something down. Right
mm,
now, if we can't get it and can't Google it or that, we just let it go. So
we
I'm
move
with you
on.
on that. But let's go towards the sprout. So the worms were one phase, but then you moved into raising sprouts, which is kind of another environmentally sound and very, very nutritious process. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so this is it. I think my journey is fascinating because it's my journey.
Of course.
I hope everyone thinks their own journey is fascinating too. Otherwise, they need to shift something so it can
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
Back to 2002, my very first event that I was exhibiting at. It was a garden show, and there was a gentleman there selling the sprouter that I've been using for 23 years and selling since 2012. And I didn't know anything about sprouts or sprouting, why I would eat them, how to do anything. And I went up to this gentleman because his thing was flying off the shelf. It looks like a spaceship. It's the size of a dinner plate, the one that I have. There's all kinds of sprouting systems. And you can sprout just in paper towels or jars, so you don't even need anything. But having a system makes it easy, makes it consistent and
Hmm.
clean, whatever. Okay. So I
Yep.
went up to this gentleman when there was a break in the audience and I said, "What is that thing? And why are they buying that and not my worms?" And he
Seems
said,
that seems like a kind of like a question with an obvious answer, but go ahead.
right? It does totally. So he said, it's a sprout grower. And I was like, what is that? And why would I do it? This gentleman, just a little bit about him. He is 96 now this year.
Uh-huh.
He was 72, a professional ballroom dancer. So tall, like 6 foot, slim, in great shape, his white crisp shirt, his black vest. Like he was just dressed like a gentleman, and he was. His approach was very. I just was attracted to this man because he looks so healthy, and I came from an employee background. I didn't know anybody that worked at 72. So I was like in awe of this man. Wow, look at him. And if anybody has ever done any exhibiting with their business, it's hard. It's hard
Mhm.
because people are like, can I have a discount? Like, what am I, Walmart? No, you cannot. Unless you buy a bunch of them. Right? It's your life's work and you're putting your life on the line. And people ask you these like belittling questions or they poo-poo what you're doing. They say comments that can be hurtful. So you really got to have a thick skin to do that.
Mhm.
Back to Tony. So he told me how wonderful sprouts were. And I said, okay, I'm in. I don't need to know why something works. I'm one of those people that I see somebody, I'm like, oh, that's working for you. Maybe it'll work for me too. So he said, if you're going to do this, start your day with 2 tablespoons of sprouted mung beans for the enzyme. So I'm going to say some big words. I'm going to sound smart because I am.
Okay. Okay. Go for it.
Okay. Worms, not worms. Sprouts are hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and they contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes than raw vegetables. As soon as we cook our vegetables, no enzymes. So I'll break down those words. Hydrating. As soon as we get thirsty, we're starting to get dehydrated. These beans are juicy. These sprouts are juicy, so they're already adding to our moisture content. Alkalizing in an acidic body, that's where cancer can survive. So sprouts are alkalizing food. They help to balance the pH in our body. Beautiful, right? So beautiful. Hydrating now. Regenerative. I'll use Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a degenerative disease. Not that sprouts are going to regrow our memory, but they can fortify our brain, fortify our beautiful cells so that we can be stronger. What beautiful. Hydrating, alkalizing, biogenic. Okay, you might have noticed I have tons of energy. Sprouts are, when we eat live food, we get the energy from the food. Natural energy. It's like caffeine and coffee, but natural. And people are like, so they're like, well, you have so much energy. They're like, I don't want to have that much energy. Why wouldn't you? I don't know why you wouldn't want to have this. Imagine how much stuff you could get done. Eat half as much. And then the enzymes. I mean, that's the important piece for me. The really important piece is the enzyme. When we're born, we're given enzymes, and if we're not eating salad or vegetables, our body uses our reserves. And when we're young, we think we can eat what we want and do what we want because our body is so beautiful. It's a machine. It's a beautiful machine that functions, but it functions better when we feed it properly. And as we age, we start to get digestive issues. It's getting younger and younger because our food is broken. So people might go to the doctor and the doctor will say, here's a prescription for enzyme pills. Instead of taking an enzyme pill, imagine growing your own enzymes for pennies a day. Wow, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And so you found out all about this, and what did you do with it?
Well, Tony said, if you're going to do this, eat the mung beans every day. The mung beans are the bean sprouts from Chinese food. They're just grown, well, they're organic, first of all, and they're grown a different way. So I said, okay, so for 10 years, I think I'm a slow learner, Bob. For 10 years, this was my private health plan. Every day I felt great. I was regular without getting graphic. I mean, everything was flowing. It was just beautiful. And I had more energy. And I was like, I love this. So for 10 years, my private health plan. In 2020, and I kept seeing Tony at these events because we would exhibit at health shows, environmental shows, wherever we could be, we would be there. And in 2012, Tony said, whenever I saw someone at his booth, I was like, oh, you should get one of those. It's so great. And I'm sure they thought I was a plant. Haha, sprouts. He said, why don't you sell this sprouter with your worm business? I was like, oh my gosh, why don't I? What a brilliant idea. So in 2012, I started to sell the sprouter that I'd been using for 10 years. And I would have samples. So I would sample this, people come and try them because you try it and then you buy it. A woman said to me, what else can you sprout? And I said, I don't know. I mean, for 10 years, I only sprouted mung beans. And she said, well, don't you get sick of mung beans? It's my health plan, right? Perspective. I changed my mind about them. And I said, well, would you get sick of having tons of energy and feeling great? Maybe, right? People love their story. Oh, I'm so tired.
So true. We're just attached to our suffering sometimes.
We are, right? And then, I thought, what do I care as a businesswoman? What do I care if people want to eat mung beans or they don't? I started to experiment at that point with different beans. And now I'm a sprouting monster. Chickpeas, lentils, fenugreek, radish, any peas. You can sprout anything that grows as a plant. starts as a sprout, as like the bean that germinates, and
So
when
I'm kind of curious about one thing. The sprouts in your sprouter, do they have a base that they grow in?
it's water, it's hydroponic.
It's just water. So I was just thinking, can you combine the compost with the sprouting?
Well, kind of. If you were going to grow microgreens like alfalfa sprouts or broccoli sprouts, although they can be grown hydroponic as well, for more nutrient value, you could grow them in the compost. But they really are two separate things.
Two separate things. So you're selling the composter now.
I'm not.
Not the composter. I mean,
The
I'm sorry,
sprouter.
the sprouter. You're selling the
Yes,
sprouter.
I
And
for
that's available also on your site.
and I do ship that to the U.S. as well. I
Oh,
ship
that's
that
wonderful.
worldwide.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful. But
so beautiful.
so so now we can take care of our garbage. We'll go get the worms, but we don't get them from you anymore. But we can get all the know-how from you.
You can.
We can get the sprouter from you. So we're turning our life around here, literally on a health basis. But that's not all. That's not the end of your story. Now, where did the laughter yoga come from?
So 2012, it was a big year.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
2012, you can imagine, not everybody wants worms in the house. So
Right. Right.
I was exhibiting before 2020, I was doing between 100 and 200 events a year, speaking at schools, garden clubs, wherever I could be educating people about these beautiful worms, I would be there.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of people had said to me over the years, ew, worms in the house. 2012, one more person said, ew, worms in the house. And I heard it. I felt it. I questioned everything. I was like, oh my gosh, universe, what do I do? I've been at this for 10 years. Why are people still saying, ew, worms in the house? Like, I don't care if you do it or don't do it, but like, anyway. And I question, and I'm very fast. I get an idea. I'm like, okay, let's go. And why wait?
Right. 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 Right.
Right. You get an idea. It's time to go with it. Otherwise someone else will.
Uh huh.
And the very next day, I was like, oh, maybe I should just get a job. No, this has to work. No. The very next day, I was introduced to laughter yoga at the very place I wrote my business plan.
Ah, the same place that had the 6-month course.
That's it.
Uh huh.
Yes. And I was like, laughter yoga, what's that? I don't do yoga. I know it's a fine thing, but I'm not a practicer of yoga. I jumped right to the fun yoga. Laughter yoga is laughing for the health of it. It's there's no jokes or comedy. We're not anti-jokes, but jokes are cultural. Two people going somewhere, not funny for those two.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cardiovascular workout. You can do it lying down. So anyone that's bedridden, they can be laughing. If they're, housebound, they can't get out of the house. You can do it. You can do it standing, sitting. It's not doing yoga and laughing. It's laughing. So there are little games to inspire the laughter. And I didn't make it up. Laughter yoga was started in 1995 by a medical doctor. So it has street cred. Hallelujah. In India. So he started laughter yoga in 95. And I believe that it was started in 95 so we could be ready for 2020 when the world shut down.
Right.
Right?
It really hasn't really come back yet.
Has not.
Mm-mm.
It seems to be amping up, in fact. Again.
There's a lot of chaos going on.
There's chaos. So there are clubs in over 120 countries. North America's a late adopter, right? So Asia's all over this. South America, North America's a late adopter. Yoga's kind of, I know it's here, but it's kind of still just arriving. So laughter yoga is still in the ocean. So there's little games to inspire the laughter. The yoga part of laughter yoga is the practice of the laughter and the deep diaphragmatic breathing. So we're doing deep breathing, and we don't have to think about it, because when we're laughing, we're exhaling, ha, ha, ha. In order to keep laughing, we have to, so we can continue ha-haing. And I incorporate all kinds of healing modalities, tapping, brain gym, qigong. Laughter is complementary medicine. It goes with everything. Ever heard that laughter is the best medicine, Bob?
Yes, of course. We've heard that 100 times.
Right? Have you had your daily dose?
Ah, right.
Right?
You would hope so. But I know that the when you say, "Have you had your daily dose?" I know that for you, the word "dose" has a very important significance, and you're going to tell us about that in a second. But I just want to kind of reflect on your journey for a moment because um, I, ju- I just want to comment that your life has been a life of service to humanity,
Mm,
and I say that in all sincerity. I mean, you looked at a problem that of garbage and organic waste and getting rid of it and the like, and you sought to solve that. And then you saw a nutritional issue and you sought to solve that. And you put your time, your effort, your energy, your intellect into that. And so I have to just a tip of the hat uh, to that. And then you come upon laughter, and so now you're moving into kind of the emotional support, and all of this is scientifically supported. And I say this all as an
mm.
introduction so you can tell us when you say, "Have you had your daily dose?" Tell us what you mean by dose.
Dose, yes, it's an acronym. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, the love drugs. So
Uh
when
huh.
we're right, when we're laughing, we're secreting all these beautiful, happy chemicals. Laughing is simply, and not simply, not so simply, but simply an energetic biological chemistry. Like it's just a science project going on. And we're in control of our own pharma. Either we're stressed and we're secreting cortisol, adrenaline, epinephrine, or not or, like and or, we can be secreting all of it, or the love drugs. And we're in charge. We're living our life in this perpetual state of stress. I want us to live, and we dip into joy every now and then, like when we're on our 2 week vacation, we might
Mm-hmm.
experience some joy because we're just relaxed. We're like, oh, I'm on the beach or wherever your happy place is.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, and imagine if we are living in a state of joy every day and we dip into stress as the contrast. So then we go, oh no, back to joy.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah. Let
possible.
me. I'm going to just throw a comment in here about something that recently just came up with one of my students. And there's a meditation called Gatha where you say something as you breathe in and say something as you breathe out. One of the duads in it is breathing in, I calm my body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. And
Mm,
my student said in her log that when she does the calming one, she tries to calm herself, and all she does is get distracted and get a little bit more anxious. But when she breathes out and smiles, the calmness goes. She becomes calm. So she was curious about that,
mm,
and I responded back to her that yeah, the moment you want something, like I want to be calm, you push the calmness farther away because the desire itself is anxiety producing, wanting things,
mm,
and feeling like you can't get them is very anxiety producing. And I'm sorry to take up this time, but I think that it was just a wonderful insight for me
mm,
that in the Tao Te Ching, the first chapter of the Tao Te Ching, there's a little duad that says, "Caught up in desire, I see the manifestation; free from desire, I see the mystery." And that was always outside of my understanding until just now, when I
mm,
realized that when you're hungry and you see an apple tree, all you see is the apples.
mm,
But when you're not hungry and see an apple tree, you see it in its place in the environment. You see it in its relationship to the sun and the earth and the soil and the rain. And you see it as part of the bigger environment, and you feel connected. So, this is what I'm kind of getting to. And I was sitting with my wife on our back porch this morning, and I said, "You see," I was trying to even get it straight in my own mind and
mm,
explaining it to her. I said, as you look out here in the garden, if you see the garden, you feel connected to it. And the feeling of connection is the same feeling as the feeling of love.
mm.
And I said, but the moment you look at a bird feeder and say that bird feeder needs to be filled up, then you're into desire and you've lost the connection. Now I have something to do. And I'm not saying that either one of them is good or bad. They're both necessary because the bird feeder needs to be filled up and you need to do that. But we concentrate so much on seeing the manifestation, seeing the physical stuff, seeing what needs to be done, that we don't spend enough time feeling connected.
Mm.
And everything that you have done in your life has all been about getting connected to the flow and to the cycle of waste and organic and growing again, getting from seeds to sprouts, and laughter, creating all of those hormones, those chemicals that you're talking about. They are the antidotes to cortisol and the stress hormones.
Hmm.
And and we just need. So I said all that just to say that I think that we really need to be much more intentional about spending time in that place where we don't spend enough time in feeling connected.
I
Whew,
love it.
that
That was
was that.
beautiful. Oh, Bob, that was so beautiful. I love it. And I wanted to talk. I wanted to really say with my full heart, I really felt what you said about my life of service. It like landed, and I got a little weepy. So thank you. So thank you for that. I because I
You,
think that often people don't see me because they see worms and they're like they have their own freak out about what
uh-huh.
their experience with worms, and they can't
Hmm.
see the beautiful journey. Before 2020, I really felt like a juggler. Like, what do you
Hmm.
need? I have it. You want worms? I got worms. You want sprouts? What do you need? You want some laughter? And that's and like not literally, but I didn't know I didn't realize that they were all connected
Hmm.
until 2020, and then all that thinking time. So much thinking time. Okay, when are we going to get out of our house? I have no more thinking time. But I realized, oh my gosh, all the things I do are leading to a beautiful, sustainable, happy life. Like
Hmm.
just a beautiful looking after the worms, which are looking after the garden, feeding the worms our scraps. So they're looking after our garbage and creating this beautiful black gold so we can grow more food. And then
Uh-huh.
we can introduce the kids to gardening. So then they're slowing down. When we're gardening, we're not on our technology. It's not possible. We'd get electrocuted. Right?
But you
And
know what you just said? You said it leads to a happy life. And so, but what leads to a happy life is the experience and the wisdom that we gain, and it leads to a wise and happy life, which is the name of
ta-da!
the podcast. What a great way to put a period on this conversation. Cathy, tell us where folks can go to get this wealth of information that you have to offer.
I have three websites. So worms, Cathy'sComposters.com, sprouts, Cathy'sSprouters.com, and laughter, Cathy'sClub.com. Because if I was
Okay.
going to have Cathy's Laughter Club, but when you put an S in front of laughter, you get slaughter. Different club.
So we will have all of those in the show notes. And folks, I strongly recommend that you acknowledge a service that Cathy has provided to us and the information that she's put together. And even if you do any one of these three, it's going to make a difference in your life. So, Cathy, I can't thank you enough for sharing your laughter, your sprouts, and your worm poop with us today. It's been just marvelous.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Okay, you take care.
And
And
you.
thank you for your service.